Map of the Sounds of Tokyo, or as my brain keeps wanting to call it, Maps to the Sounds of Tokyo, is a film I randomly found while on vacation. We stopped at McKay's in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is an awesome place, by the way, and I was browsing through all their stuff and I came across this, I believe, on their clearance rack for $2, if I'm remembering right. It's a film I've never heard of before, but it sounded interesting on the back of the box. The film starts off with some boobies, so you get some extra points out of the gate for that. But seriously though, the film opens as a mob or Yakuza-style boss's daughter Minecrafts herself, leaving behind a message stating, kind of complaining that she didn't receive the love she was dealing out, which led to her father putting the blame on her boyfriend, a Spanish immigrant to Japan who runs a wine business. The father's assistant hires a hitwoman, Ryu, to soprano the man, when she ends up kind of falling in love with him. This all being kind of told from the perspective of an old man who has befriended Ryu, whose job is a sound engineer who records things. And yeah, I really dug this one. First off, I have to say this film feels like a love child of Nicholas Winding Refn and Wong Kar-wai. I just got the vibes of Only God Forgives and Fallen Angels, and I was absorbed into it. There's a certain type of pacing to a film that I really love, where it's like just lets you live in a scene. Shots aren't afraid to linger, but scenes aren't afraid to take up the space either, allowing you to kind of melt into this world that presents interesting characters, but also an overhead of danger. Put this with a backdrop of Tokyo, and I'm sold. The cinematography is interesting because it presents some striking imagery from its settings to lighting, but also willing to put its characters kind of off screen at moments, zoom in at parts, and allow a lot of negative space. And I'm not sure if that's on purpose. Don't get me wrong, I really like how the camera moves around the film, but it can also feel at times a bit amateurish at points. But it kind of just worked for me on a visual level. I will say that despite the lighting choices, I kind of did hate the color grading. It might just be this DVD, but the whites are blown out while the blacks are really mashed. Like I said, it could be the fact it's on DVD. I wouldn't mind trying to find a Blu-ray of this. It's a very contrasting image without much coloration outside of the lighting, which does kind of leave some scenes to visually be somewhat unappealing to me in terms of just the grade. But I will say another thing I really enjoyed was the sound mixing. If you watch this film with a decent sound system, you'll hear how the film uses Foley to accent moments in a scene, to in a way map out the moments. But it's a nice attention to detail that's fun, even if it's not consistent throughout the film. The relationship between Ryu and David is one at points that can be hard to watch because it's a parasitic relationship that both partners are leeching off of each other for something else, which makes for some good interesting character moments. The characters feel natural and deep, while both leads give a good stoic performance to their broken characters. The story coming around at the end without spoilers, leaving you with a feeling that you've lived the story of the girl who was never in the film. If that makes any sense. Like, it would make sense, I think, if you watched it, but me saying that, I don't know how much sense that makes. It'd be much easier to spoil the film, but I'm not going to, gosh darn it. But it really did leave me with this feeling that I experienced something through osmosis that I really haven't felt from a film before. Not in this way or in this sense, I guess. Sometimes it really pays off just to pull something off a shelf and look at it when you have no idea what it is. I do that all the time, and while it's truly a gamble, sometimes you'll end up getting the maps of the sounds of Tokyo. I personally got a new favorite that I can see myself watching multiple times. Now I will concede though, even though I love this film, I know some wouldn't because of its pacing, but it just checks all the boxes for me that I love in a film, how I'd want to make a film and how I'd want to present a story. So I might be a little bit biased on this one. I definitely feel like this is like one of those movies that I would want to make, if that makes any sense. I'd still definitely recommend it though overall, but it does seem like the reviews are a little mixed on this one. But for me, it's an 8 out of 10. Could definitely go up on a second viewing, could go down, but 8 out of 10.